Claude Code builds anything I can describe. Functionality, backend, deployment, the full stack. But there's one thing I could never describe well enough, and that's design. And it matters more than I would like to admit. I use apps that are well designed over apps that aren't, even when they have the same features. Even when the less polished one is cheaper. First impressions carry so much weight, and until now, that was the one thing that vibe coding couldn't help me with, at least not enough. But something changed. Google released this tool called Stitch. You describe what you want and it generates full UI designs. And normally I would have scrolled past this, another AI design tool, another demo that looks great in a video, and falls apart the second you try to use it for real work. But Stitch does something that caught my attention. You can give it any website URL. It scrapes the site and analyzes the design. And then finally, it generates a file called design.md. And design.md is a full design system as a markdown file. So colors, typography, spacing, component styles, layout rules, but all in plain text. And I tried it. I gave it a URL, it scraped the site, and the result was genuinely good. The websites it generates looks different from the original, but they capture the essence. The vibe carries over. Now, if you use Claude Code, you probably already have Claude.md in your projects. That file tells Claude how to write code, what conventions to follow, what to avoid. And design.md does the same thing, but for the visual layer. So you drop it into your project and Claude Code starts following those design rules and on every page it builds. The same colors, the same spacing, the same typography. But not because it got smarter, but because you gave it constraints, a rule set it can actually follow. Good design is consistency, for the most part. Following the same rules on every page, so same colors, spacing, hierarchy. Most projects don't fail because the design was bad. They fail because nobody kept it consistent across the whole website. And design.md just does that for you. And that alone makes the output look polished. It's not going to win design awards, but polished is what most projects actually need. But that's only half of the story. The design.md file on its own gets you most of the way. Stitch also has an MCP connection which lets Claude Code talk to it directly. So we're talking live access to HTML, the screenshots, the full visual context. I'm covering MCP in a separate episode because it deserves its own breakdown. High-end designers are calling Google Stitch mid. And honestly, they always will. That's not even the point because there's some bias there too. When you look at what most small to medium website agencies actually produce for their clients, the quality is very similar to what Stitch generates. It's not going to be a uniquely crafted, custom designed website, but that's its own market. Most businesses don't buy that. They don't need it. The comparison that really matters is what Claude Code produces on its own versus what it produces when you give it a design.md file. And that gap is quite real. If you're finding this topic interesting, give the video a like. It helps me know what to focus on for the next video. But going back to what I was saying, design.md is portable. You can commit it to Git, you can share it across projects, feed it to any AI agent that reads Markdown, and Stitch generated it, but it's not locked to Google's ecosystem. The tool might change, but the pattern won't. And that's what makes this so interesting for the long term. But none of that answers the real question, which is, does it hold up on a real project? Stitch isn't replacing designers, and it's not replacing Claude Code. It's filling the gap between them. If you build with Claude Code, try this. Find a site that you think looks great, extract its design system with Stitch, then drop the design.md file into your project and watch what happens to the output. I'm going deeper on design.md in the next episode, so subscribe if you don't want to miss that. And if you want to see how I actually use Claude Code for client work and why constraints like this matter so much, I broke that down here. Subscribe, this is Afterwork, and there's a new episode every day I actually work.